Well, it's what my daughter was at the time, and I said I have to count her.
Yeah, it's an old first language.
Normally I here,
It's even.
For you, I was sweating. I took a shower too.
if you want to, come to the,
Well,
we were back in the corner before we start. Say hi. I'm sure you'll be glad to say so.
oh, I know. So it's actually but I'm coming sometime. Sure.
We did move it. You don't know.
She'll sit here.
So, yeah, I was just kidding. So, yeah, but now you're sitting in front of her. I mean, you would know I spell.
They open it. She and I are both taking notes. God, is that that's supposed to be?
Got it, got it, got it. Hello, hello. We'll just give about 30 more seconds for those in the back to grab a seat. Welcome. Welcome and good afternoon. Welcome to our monthly town hall meeting. And I always like to start these meetings with mission moments. So does anyone have a mission moment they would like to share? John, thank you.
We said goodbye this morning to a team member who has been here with about 3 years, Zoe Marcus. She has done wonderful work in bringing interns from all around our area to Goodwin House so that they can see what we do and then take our ideas out into the future. And it was just a small room, but I think it's worthwhile saying goodbye to Zoe.
Thank you. Anyone else have a mission moment?
Despite what we talked about earlier, this is not about me turning off the security things. I don't trust myself to do that. You get somebody else to do that. We, in the last 3 weeks or so, Laura and I have had a lot of really difficult situations where we had to have emergency transportation to medical appointments. And for each one of these things, we wound up dealing with Hussein, the new person who's taking care of transportation, and he's come through every single time. And that's been a real godsend.
Thank you, Bob. Anyone else? I'm forgetting my mask. Jen, can you do it? That will help. Don't have to do mask on and off.
I just wanted to let you know that Mary Reyes, who works for HR, became a new citizen just a few weeks ago. She came to us with just 3 weeks to prepare for her interview, and Sheila Delaney helped her, and then Sheila went away a week, and I helped her through that period. She passed with flying colors, and they did something new. I don't know if this is going to continue, but immediately after her interview, they swore her in as a new citizen. So she walked out of that building with her certificate in her hand.
Thank you. Jen?
Two things. What did I do? I never know. First of all, this is about food, which is not important here, right? I thought last night's dinner was terrific, really terrific. And I think the chef's special is a great idea, and I hope people are enjoying them as much as we are. It's the first thing we look for when we're coming down to the bistro for dinner, and it's just nice to know that there may be a delightful surprise in store for us. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Klein. All right. Okay, now to the big thing on the agenda. Actually, let me run through the agenda. Excuse me, I did not do that. Following me is going to be Judy Hansen. She will be introducing Judy Bryan behind her. Following that, Sarah Han, I just saw her right there in the front row. She's going to talk to you about catering, and I think you all got a brochure from her on your way in. Then following Sarah, we have Kim Butler to my right, your left. And Kim's going to talk a little bit about Uniguest and also about the resident dinner that we shared with TVA and Goodwin House Bailey's Crossroads. And then following Kim will be Bruce giving you a chapel update. And then we will have Sue Dalton, our Director of Sales, giving you her last review because she's retiring. Sad. Sue will be giving you her quarterly update on sales. And then following Sue, we will have Teresa Thomas, and she's going to talk to you about our elevator assessment and our facility assessment reports. Okay? So if I could start with the SECA Award. We have 3 awards, as you know, and you all know what SECA stands for. Celebrating Caregivers. Any of our team members are eligible, and they're eligible by our team writing in nominations and also our residents. So we start with a Nominator Award, and our Nominator Award this quarter goes to DeMonte Robinson. Oh, my mask. I won't stand near you, so sorry. Yeah, DeMonte, you have to come over here. Thank you. And I do want to say that DeMonte, as you know, is our new executive chef. He gave 19 nominations for the quarter over a 3-month period for his team. So you're starting out your leadership skills in a great way, acknowledging your team. Thank you, DeMonte. And just so you know, I tested negative. I just had an exposure, and you know how that is. You have to wear a mask. But I am negative. Our next award goes to our new employee. And our new employee that won this quarter is Ted Chapman. All right. Over here, and I'll tell you just a little bit about Ted. Smile. Okay, before you go, Ted is in therapeutic recreation in the small houses. So, of course, he got nominations from family members also that have seen the work that Ted has done. And what Ted has done, you think, oh, he's in the small houses. I don't see much of him. He's done some things that may affect all of you. He's the one that they keep talking about in the green team that's getting working on the bird cam so that every resident, starting with the small house residents, can have it on their personal TV in their rooms.
I can offer a small correction. It'll be on all TVs at the same time.
I was going to say that. I started with the small houses.
As soon as it's available on the small houses, it will be to everyone. But there's still some work to be done with scheduling and making sure that it runs without interruption, but in progress.
So that's an example. That is way over and above what his job is. So thank you. And you will get a check in the mail.
Great. I like that part.
So thank you. Okay, now our next one. This is our big one. We have a big check. And I would like to call up Allison Schroeder. Where is she? Okay. Over here, Allison. Yay! Congratulations. I am going to, I think, give her a side hug. So before you go, Kim, you might want to say, you want to come up? Yeah, mobile deposit right there. So I'm going to let Kim say a few things about Allison. I think most of you know Allison. She's heading our art studio program, and you get a pin too, Allison. Allison, actually, this has nothing to do with it. It was just a comment I want to make that I was so impressed today with her. We were having a finance committee in here, and she was walking with a resident, in Stonebrook, and the resident decided to make a beeline into the meeting. And you handled it so magnificently. Typically with someone from dementia, when you try to pull them back, you're going to get resistance. Now, she's in our art studio, and this is how much she knows about helping people with dementia. She just came in and asked, could they please sit and engage in the meeting, with the residents. And of course, anyone was welcome. But you handled that so beautifully. Very proud of you. But I do want to say, I'm going to let Kim talk. She received, I think the residents wanted you to win, 35 nominations. Incredible.
Thank you. And all well deserved. What I want to say about Allison is just like she just said, it really has nothing to do with that. But Allison is truly the calm in our department. we look at Allison all the time, and she be having this little calm face, and her emotions are calm, and we be up here, and we be like, we just look at her, and we all calm down. And this is our calm in our department. Thank you.
Did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I did. You for the reason why you come here.
No, it's so easy to come to work and be happy about it, and it's because of everybody in this room and all the intentions everybody has. I'm in the ELP program right now, and I'm reading a book called The Evolving Leaders Program, which is a great program that Goodwin Living has been running for years now. And one of our books is The Art of Caring Leadership. And I just have like example after example after example, definitely in these two women next to me, but also in every single person here. There's just such a genuine wanting to do good. It's such a great feeling to come to an organization like this. So thank you, and thank you for the recognition. The check is the biggest check I've ever received. I mean, size-wise, physically. And this is like a lovely thing to do, but the real gift of this was reading those 35 nominations. They made me cry and smile a lot, and they are in a folder. So whenever I'm having a hard day or not feeling that calm, I'm pulling them out and I'm reading a few words from the same people who might not make me so calm. So thank you.
Thank you, Allison. And just a few other things that I was going to mention, and then I'll turn it over. A couple things that we'll talk about during the next town hall. I'm going to give you a teaser here. One is regarding the Hollerin', and the Hollerin' was a survey, satisfaction survey that you took. We did just receive the results, and we're putting them all together. And for those of you that made comments, the comments really help us versus just the graphs. So having the detail in the comments, thank you for those that took the time to do that. So we'll give a presentation on that next month. And the other thing we'll talk about next month is HCM, and that's our design firm. There is a meeting tomorrow, so we're looking at the way forward. We received, I think it was 482. Was it 482 comments, Judy? Oh. 782. I'm dyslexic today. 782 comments. And Marilee and Judy did 2 reports and put all that together and basically summarized it. And Scott, our architect with the firm, has all of your comments, but he especially is the summary, because there really was a lot to read. So we're going to talk tomorrow about the way forward to look for a final plan. So I don't have any more news than that at this stage, but hopefully tomorrow I will have more, and I'll bring it up next month. And the last thing I was just going to mention, thank you, Monica, is, as you likely know, we have a manager on duty every weekend, and that's basically between our directors and our managers. Someone is always on call over the weekend, and we were coming in one day out of that weekend. Now we will be coming in both days during that weekend, including the holidays. So we will have a manager here 7 days a week. And thank you. And part of that, when they're manager on duty, it's not here to do their regular daytime job. It's to really make rounds, go to assisted living, go to the small houses, go to dining and try a meal, and just overall make sure everything's running smoothly so I don't get a phone call. So without further ado, I'd love to turn this over to Judy.
Good afternoon. I'm Judy Hanson, Chair of the Residents' Council, and I just wanted to say one thing before I introduce Judy Bryan. Again, I want to thank all of you who put written comments in for the HCM plans. And there is an article in the upcoming Gazette for those of you that don't have a computer and have not seen the summary that the Resident Council approved, as well as the spreadsheet that Marilee created holding those 782 comments, is available in Marilee's office if you just want to go in and sit down and take a look at the summary. The other thing that I wanted to add is that I know a few of you had expressed skepticism whether our summary would have any impact on the architect or HCM. And I'm happy to report that when I was downstairs yesterday, where many of you go for PT, that Wilbur told me that the architect came to the rehab office yesterday and was talking to the staff. And obviously what many of you said in your comments is that space needs to be larger, more connected, more privacy, et cetera. So he actually came. And I thought, okay, I said that was the best thing I've heard today. So the team, which I suspected would, really did listen, and I'm sure that there's going to be some other visits before they finalize their plans. So Judy is chair of one of our important standing committees, the Hospitality Committee. And so she's going to very briefly explain what they do for those of you that are not sure.
Thank you, Judy. I have the privilege of being able to tell you about the Hospitality Committee, although I think that's probably one of the easiest to understand in a way, and because each of you really is part of it. Each of you is part of the hospitality of this place. It's not just in the hands of half of a dozen or so of us. And you make it the warm and welcoming place that I understand it to have as a reputation. It's hard to be objective if you live here, but that's what I understand. Whether it's a visitor in the lobby or the sales team that help us so much, or when the rubber hits the road and new residents come in, that's where we spring into action. But it's all of us together, and so I just want to say that thank you for being the participant you are just by being yourselves. The Hospitality Committee charge is to welcome each resident as he or she moves in and make sure that during this tricky transition time, which we all remember or might want to forget, we're there as their helper, and some need more help than others, but we want to be their new best friend. We want to show them, we want to soften their landing and show them the ropes and take them to meals and introduce them to friends. And each person is unique, so we sort of have to sense how much or how little they need or want our help. Better too much than too little, I suppose. They get a ton of materials, both from sales and from us, welcoming them and telling them all kinds of the myriad of details that you know we all need to master, and most of us haven't probably even gotten to the end of the list. But they have to read, learn, mark, and interlead digest a lot of things, like drinking from the fire hose. So much to find out. So, of course, dining is always the first thing that they need to know about, but they want to know what's going on, when, and where things are, and we're only 3% of this community, so we try to do our best to usher them around and show them some tricks of the trade. You all are the backup and maybe we're the backbone of that part of it, but it is indeed a mutual effort. The GHA family has welcomed in the last year 42 new residents since April 1st, 2024. And I'd like to ask anybody who came in since April 1st a year ago to stand up. I hope you're here. Not for, none? 1, 2, 3, there, come on, stand up. Don't be shy. So you get a second welcome after this time. and there are, we would just welcome you again. I'd like to introduce to you the hospitality committee members, so you know who they are. And I'm going to ask them to stand, and those are who are here, and stay standing. Robin Barbie, stand up. Robin Barbie is a former chair of the committee, and she does all the record keeping, things that look like this when we get them, lots of pages of things, which is information she gets from sales and disperses to us, and the welcome material that the greeters take to their people. So she does a very lot. And Anne Henu, stay standing. Anne Henu is the Residence Council liaison to our committee and has been on it for some years. And she takes the minutes. So those are two very important parts of it. And the rest of us here are well, they're not greeters, but we're kind of a triumvirate. So Patricia Bango, I think, there she is. Pat Bango and Sandy Connolly. Stay standing, Pat, if you can. Betsy Fega. Lori Fulton. You'll know these people even if they aren't here. Maybe they're watching on the TV. Ann Harvell. She and Ann Ross live on the second and third floors, and they help welcome the people who come in there, even if they're not on our welcome list. And Judy Hansen, also past chair of the committee. Ann Kress, I think she had to be somewhere. Ann Kress. Jill Miller, as I believe, floating around in the Mediterranean. Too bad. Ann Murphy. There she is. Ann Ross. Both. We have a lot of Anns. And Claire Tozier. There she is back there, because she has to run off to something else. But thank you for coming, Claire. So these are the people who, there's not a man among them, guys. So listen up. Thank you. You all can sit down. But they're the ones who do the good work. So I would say if any of you, male or female, are interested in participating in any way, either being a greeter or just giving us ideas, suggestions. We're going to try to solicit some also from anyone who's come in the last year or so. If you have suggestions, because you can remember what might have been helpful or more helpful or less helpful, we want to do a little work. There are some things coming. Actually, at this very meeting today, they talked about we really aren't hospitality and the ladies that bring cookies to the parties for everybody. We are welcomers, and we were thinking of changing the name to the Welcome Committee, but that's not legal yet. So we invite you to participate, help us in any way. You do help us by just being yourselves, so keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
And Sarah?
Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm the catering manager here at Goodwin. At the front door, we handed everyone a draft copy of the catering brochure. I'll talk about that at the end. For the most part, I'll cover most of the information I'm going to be talking about today. So that being said, I'm excited to share a few updates about our catering services and how you guys can utilize me and our event spaces for your events. Oh, sorry. So what kind of events can be catered here? Just about anything. We have helped residents plan birthday parties, church gatherings, anniversaries, club gatherings, anything from casual to formal, we are able to host here. Casual being from light finger foods to sit-down dinners and past hors d'oeuvres. In terms of cost, most events land between $10 to $25 per person, depending on the menu and setup. A huge perk of being a resident at Goodwin Living is, on top of our decent prices, is the free spaces that you can utilize for your events here. We have the Arbor Room, we have the Fillmore Lounge, and we have the private dining room in the Alexandria. And now that it's getting warmer, we have the rooftop. So that being said, it's a great place for a free space for everyone to use for all like upcoming events. Then we have advance notice. We ask 10 days advance notice. That gives us enough time to plan the menu, coordinate the setup, double check the details. 10 days helps us go the extra mile for you, especially when it's color schemes in mind. If you want floral arrangements, custom signage to match your event's theme, it helps us make that experience for you. And then we have some catering updates. What you guys have right now is our brochures. Those are not the final drafts, but what we're trying to create is a brochure that's easy to grab and like simple to share. It shows you it shows the perks of doing caterings with us, how to view the full menu, pricing examples, how to get in touch with me directly. And then as well, a catering menu. We're going to have a new catering menu come out this summer. There's no set date yet, but we'll have a new catering menu out. And then before the wrap up, we have happy hour in the Fillmore today. And it'll be me and William.
Okay, hello. I am Kim, the Director of Life Enrichment. Some time ago, back in, I want to say November of 2024, I don't see them in here, but do you remember when we used to do the director's lunch with you all in the bistro? So I was one of the directors doing a lunch in the bistro, and at my table was Irma and Pat Cannon and Hunter. And Irma said, you know what would be nice? If we could figure out a way to have dinners at the other communities. So that would be Bailey's and TVA. So I said, okay, let me figure it out. Let me try to figure out how to do this. So when this year started, I reached out to TVA and reached out to Bailey's Crossroad to introduce something called Dinner with Neighbors. So we had a sign up, and we had residents sign up if they wanted to go to TVA, or if they wanted to do it here, or if they wanted to go to Bailey's and have dinner with 10 other residents from each community. It was a private event for each one. It was on your dining dollars. You didn't have to pay for anything. The first one we had was at GHA on April 1st. The second one we had was at GHBC on April 10th. And then the last one that we had at TVA was last night. So I just want to show you some of the pictures from the events. So this is here at GHA. We had it in the Fillmore, and it started at 5:30. So these are some of the residents from both TVA and Bailey's having dinner with the residents here. I understand that day some connections were made. Not only are they now having dinner with them on other occasions, they made other connections to do other things and hang out. So we really made some great connections. We had here a violinist playing, and I think at TVA they had an instrumental playing. Did they have an instrumental, Ms. Pepper? Did they? Okay. They had a harp. Thank you. So they had a harpist playing at TVA last night. This is at Bailey's Crossroad. As you can see, as they entering, they're already making friends with people. And Bailey's, they even had a little welcome sign for them. Wasn't that great? and this was also at Bailey's. Now, TVA's was last night, so I didn't get the pictures from last night. So I do apologize for that I didn't get the pictures from last night. However, it has been mentioned to me, we need to do this again. I don't have a date yet because I do have to speak with both Bailey's and TVA to do it, but a lot of residents said I didn't know about it, so I would like to be involved next time. So somewhere down the line, of course this year, I will put it together again, and we will announce it again in the Gazette, Unigas, and everywhere we can to send out communications about it. So that was that. Thank you. And now I'm going to talk about Unigas a little bit. Now, I know it was at some point that we were trying to get a lot of residents to convert to getting the Gazette digital, and some people just wasn't having it. I'm not doing it, don't want to see it. However, even if you don't go to digital, because digital just gets you, comes in your email, so that's a way to get it digital in your email. But even if you say, I don't want to get it digital, I like the piece of paper, even some residents say they can't read the piece of paper. However, the residents that cannot read the piece of paper also go onto Unigas occasionally or even often. So I'm going to show you how to get to this Gazette, blow it up where you can see it, and do all types of things to be able to see it better on Unigas for you. Even if you don't get it digital, you can always go into Unigas and get it digital. So you don't really need the paper at all. You can go into Unigas and see it. So we're going to start by, and this is the same screen that you all see on your computers in your home. So we're going to first go into the Gazette. And as you can see, we already have the Gazette loaded for the week that we're in right now. So I'm going to pull that up. And right now you can say, oh, I can see this. So you can use this one if you want. But I'm going to take you up to that little square. You all see that square up there that I'm circling? If you tap that square up in the right-hand corner, it'll open it up even more for us to see. But I'm going to go even a step further for you. You see this little button here in the right-hand corner underneath of that open button? It's a download button. If you click download and open it up, now you can see it this way, but you can still say, wait, that's too small. Really? Well, let's even go larger. You see the three dots on the right-hand side. If you click that and say that you want it to go to 2 pages, you can go to 2 pages. But now you want to even see it larger than that. Go to those same 3 dots, and you want to see it in present mode. I can come to any one of you all's apartment to show you how to do this. This will allow you to look at the Gazette like this. And if you notice, it's the complete full page that you can see. We can see this page over there at the original building right now. If you're looking through that window, the art studio, you can see this from here. And it's the complete page. And if anyone would like for me to come to their apartment and show them this, I am available to do that. This way, again, you do not even have to get the digital copy or the printed copy, because this right here is on your computer all the time. Any questions? Yes, and your phone, but this way I know residents will say, well, on my phone it still looks as small as it looked when we first started out. But this way it's just larger for you to see. You can see it with no issue. And one more, you can always expand it. But when you expand it, you start losing some of the page. So that's why if you just do it the other way, you will automatically get presenter mode. Thank you. You all are quiet.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bruce, your chaplain, and we're in a Holy Week. I say Happy Holy Week, and next week is Holy Happy Week. There's much happening between now and then. Tomorrow is Maundy Thursday, also known as Holy Thursday. So we have a service here, a regular Thursday at 11 o'clock here in the auditorium, but during the service on the screen, we'll have artwork of the Last Supper from a lot of different artists. Then at 2 o'clock, we have graduation for our chaplain interns, and Delonta, who has been with us for this whole semester, will be graduating. And his mom has come here from Sri Lanka to be here for this special event. And we are hosting it, that it moves around through our different communities, our 3 houses, but we get to host it this time. And you come to the chapel at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. You can tune it in on 974, and in the article in the Gazette that you've just seen, there's a link if you want to go to the Zoom, because some of the family members and that aren't able to be here can join us through the Zoom. We're very happy to be able to do that. Then at 7 o'clock, we have the Eucharist. Holy Thursday, Maundy Thursday is remembering when Jesus had his last meal with his disciples. And so it's a service of Eucharist. And at the end of that, we have what's called the stripping of the altar, where we put away just about everything that can be moved. And then it's a bare chapel for a Good Friday service, which will be at 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon. I will be back from the National Gallery, where I'll be from 12 to 1 for my 37th year, doing a program on Stations of the Cross every Good Friday from 12 to 1, and I'll be back here for the 3 o'clock service. Sunday, we have 2 services for Easter, and if you're coming, you don't have to come, but get your bells out, because if you're going to watch on TV, you want to have your bell handy. Bring your bell with you to the chapel at 9 o'clock, where we'll have organ and violin. And the bells get rung at the word that we don't say during Lent, but we get to start saying it again at Easter. And if you don't know what that is, if you show up, you'll find out. But I'm not going to say it right now. And then at 10:30, we'll have the service here in the auditorium with piano and violin. And then your chaplain, I risk when I say this to the universe, I'm going to try to take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday off. Yes. We'll see how that works. And so there won't be a service on the Thursday after Easter. And the following week, the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the last Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of April, I'll be with our Diocesan Clergy Conference out at Shrinemont, about 100 miles from here. So you won't be seeing me for several days, I think. But I'll be here in between. And I think that's all for the moment. And who's the lucky winner? Yes. Okay, well, I get the privilege of giving Sue a hug then.
Aww.
Yeah. And she knows what it's like to have her mama in residence here.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'm very fortunate to know that. Hello, everyone. I'm Sue Dalton. I love how you say I'm your chaplain. So I'm going to say I'm your director of sales. And I'm here today. Oh, it's a typo. It's Dolton. That's okay. That's okay. So I'm here to give you your quarterly sales update. And I will explain this chart. This is the chart that we show every quarter to give you an idea of where we are with our occupancy. And as a reminder, this orange line that's going across the middle of the chart, that is our goal as established at the beginning of the fiscal year. We have a goal for occupancy, and our goal in this fiscal year is 96.7% for Goodwin House Alexandria. And as you can see, for this entire fiscal year, from October through March, so year to date, we have met or exceeded our goal. And that's what we want to do every month, is to meet or exceed our occupancy goal. And as I always do, I have to thank you for your support in that effort. You meet the prospects who come in. If you're an ambassador or on the resident marketing committee, you may be involved in tours. Oftentimes, our priority club members will come to our dining venues, and many of you will sit with them and host them for a meal. And we are so grateful for the support that you provide to the sales team that allows us to keep this high occupancy level for the community. I want to go over some other things that have been happening in the community as it relates to sales. I have been speaking to you in the last couple of quarters about our Early Advantage program and our Ready List program, which are the new programs within our wait list. And we've talked about this quite a bit, so I'm just going to give you a little refresher that Early Advantage is the program that allows people to have an elevated position on the wait list and also allows them to have a life care agreement while they're waiting in their home, waiting for that call that their apartment is available for them. The Ready List is similar, except it provides only the elevated position on the wait list. It does not include the life care agreement. And so I would just like to review with you where we are today in terms of these two new programs. So we have 81 Early Advantage members who have signed their agreements and paid their membership fees. And we have several more assessments scheduled. You might recall that a medical assessment is required for Early Advantage members because of that life care agreement. And kudos to our clinical team, Kathy Farmer and Monica, who have been conducting these assessments. And there were many Fridays where they were conducting 10 assessments a day. And if you don't think that's hard, it's hard. Yes, please, a round of applause for Kathy Farmer and Monica. And they're still doing them. They're still conducting those assessments. We have 49 Ready List members right now, and fortunately those do not require assessments. It's just a deposit from those Ready List members. And then we still have Priority Club members, people who have not expressed an interest in either Early Advantage or Ready List, and we have 793 of them. So I'll get to your question in just a minute, Bob. I just want to get through my slides here. And I want to remind you of when I say an elevated position on the wait list, I want to remind you of how these groups all go in order on the wait list. And so when we have an apartment that is available for us to sell because it's becoming vacant, the first people that we go to contact about this available apartment is the people who are still in the move-in to move-up program. You will recall that last September, we stopped offering move-in to move-up to our residents, really. And that was a way to secure a small apartment in order to get on the internal wait list and get to a larger apartment. We stopped offering that in September. However, there were several people who were already in the program, meaning they were paying for that smaller apartment while waiting for that larger apartment. And we made a commitment to them, and we continue to honor that. And so when we get an apartment that becomes available for us to sell, the first thing we do is look to see, are there any move-in to move-up residents who are waiting for that style apartment? If there are, then we talk to them first. There may not be a move-in to move-up person who's waiting for that style apartment, in which case we go to the top of the early advantage list. And as I mentioned, there are 79 people on that list right now. If there's no one in the early advantage group that's interested in that particular apartment style, then we would go to the ready list and so on down to the priority club. So we went live with this program on March 17th. What does that mean, we went live? We started doing exactly what I just showed you on this chart. We started calling on people in this order for an available apartment, and we started that on March 17th. And so since then, we have reserved 4 apartments with EA members. So we were able to go to that early advantage list and offer those folks 4 different apartments, and they have reserved those apartments. So now it looks like we might have some questions in the group. Bob.
I'd like to go back to the first slide. The goal for occupancy, I'm curious who sets those numbers and what are the factors that go into that decision?
I can see my Chief Strategy and Marketing Officer coming up to the front of the room. You'll see her in a minute. Who sets those numbers? The Chief Financial Officer. Actually, the entire strategy team is involved in that conversation. They do look at, historically, what have we done? How have we done with our occupancy? If we exceeded our occupancy the year before, how much did we exceed our occupancy by? What's a reasonable yet challenging occupancy goal? And the budget is based on that occupancy goal. So the finance committee is involved, the board is involved, the chief financial officer, and the entire strategy team. Does that answer your question? Yep. See, I knew she'd come up.
Thank you. I'll just add that there are occupancy goals for all levels of living that are set for all of our campuses.
Yeah, the reason I asked the question is because some of us here, and I'm one of them, think part of our problem with not being able to do as good a job around here as we'd like to is we got too many people for the staff, and if we had fewer people and we spent some more on the staff instead of where other places we send them, it might work better for all of us concerned. And so I wonder if anybody ever pays any attention to that.
Are you referring to staff in general, all the team members, or specific departments? I think that's probably a question that goes beyond sales. So perhaps you may want to take that up with Barb on that one. Okay.
Yes, as far as salaries, that's looked at every year. And in fact, our human resources department, there are many, many times that we do studies for the industry, especially in this area, because this area, of course, pays higher than Iowa, as example. But they do look at the salary structures throughout the United States to make sure we're competitive plus. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
How many residents are currently on the move-in to move-up program?
That's a great question, and right now we have 25 people who are currently in the move-in to move-up program, but that's between the 2 communities. And so the majority of them are at Bailey's Crossroads, and I believe that's 19 are at Bailey's Crossroads, and so there are 6 here at Goodwin House Alexandria. You're welcome. Another question here? Here, we'll just use this merely.
Just a question. Someone that wants to come in the what's the top one with early advantage, but they don't medically qualify. Does that put them down, and then they have trouble getting up to where you offer them an apartment?
So the question was, if someone applies for early advantage and they go through the medical assessment process, but they are not medically approved for early advantage, what happens then? Is that right? Is that your question? Okay. So any number of things could happen then. For example, the medical assessment may show that that particular person really is more appropriate for assisted living at this time. You're not talking about that. Independent living. Okay, so they have many options. They can join the Ready List if they'd like. They can stay on the Priority Club if they like. We have had some folks who did not qualify medically, but because they're part of a couple and the other person did qualify medically for early advantage, the person who doesn't medically qualify still benefits from their partner's access to early advantage and that elevated position on the wait list. So they do have options, and Ready List is one that many of them have taken advantage of.
Yeah, I was just asking because Ready List people, I don't know they ever get
Mr. Sargent's follow-up question was, will Ready List people ever get called? And they will, and I will also tell you that I pointed out that we have 4 apartments that we have been able to offer to early advantage members, and so the system's working, but I will also tell you that we have offered smaller apartments to people who are still on the Priority Club and didn't choose either one of the new programs. So Ready List people will definitely get called. We have a question back there, and then you, Tom.
Well, as an alumnus of the Move In to Move Up program many years ago, and it really worked very well for us because we found that the initial apartment that we moved in really did not meet our needs very well, and we were lucky that another one opened up. Can you explain what went into the decision to discontinue that program?
I can, and if I forget something, I'm going to rely on Lindsay to help me. There were a couple of reasons, and the one that spoke to us most loudly was the fact that we were finding that our one-bedroom apartments, which were the ones that were being utilized for move-in to move-up primarily, were, as a result of that program, not available to the people on our Priority Club who were waiting for a one-bedroom, and they were waiting for that one-bedroom apartment because that was the only style apartment that fit in their budget. And so we were finding that our one-bedroom apartments were being taken up by people who were simply using them to get to a larger apartment, and they were therefore unavailable to a resident who could only afford that apartment. So that was one reason. The second reason was because we were finding that sometimes those one-bedroom apartments that were being occupied by a move-in to move-up resident were not physically occupied. So some folks were just choosing to pay for that apartment and not live in it. And that was leading to an empty apartment on the hall. And the residents who lived on that hallway spoke up and said they didn't like that. They wanted a sense of community, and they wanted to get to know their neighbors, and they wanted to include their neighbors in all that goes on in the social activities on their floor. And having an empty apartment just didn't sit well with them. And we heard that. Is there anything I left out? Tom.
Sue, we're going to miss you.
Oh,
have a great
thank you.
retirement.
Thank you.
My question is, I understand that the move-in and move-out program is to be phased out, and yet it seems like it's pretty active.
Tom asked if the move-in to move-up program is being phased out. It still seems active. It is being phased out, though, but we made a commitment to those 25 households. I said people, but it's households, who are paying for that smaller apartment because we told them they could do that to have access to a larger apartment. And so we have to honor that commitment to them. And once those 25 people have been satisfied and are in the apartment in which they want to stay, then there will be no more move in to move up. It'll become part of Goodwin living history. Okay. So I'm going to pass the microphone to Lindsay. But first, I want to say to all of you that, as you know, I'm retiring. My last day will be June 2nd. And oh, my goodness. So I have 24 years of experience in senior living, and this job has been the best one. I thank you, really, truly. It's also been the most challenging one, I'll be honest. It's been challenging, you know, there were 2 communities when I was hired, and then there were 3, and now there are 4, and the job just continues to expand in its responsibilities. But I have learned so much. I have met so many wonderful people, and you know, many of you are here in this room. And, you know, as a sales team, we give tours of the community, and we talk about the dining venues and the dining program, and we talk about the fitness classes, and we show the apartments. And so much of the time it just feels like, to you, it may feel like that. For us, it's bricks and mortar, and that's what we're talking about. But the fact of the matter is that these communities are you, and you make these communities. You come together and you build this group of people that have a personality and have interests. And you are, Judy, so hospitable. Like, I understand you might want to change the name of the committee, but so friendly and welcoming to new people who come in. And so the community is the people who live in it. It's not the bricks and mortar. And I'm so grateful to all of you for your assistance in helping me do my job better. And I'm retiring from this role as the director of sales, but I am not retiring from my other role that I have here, which is the adult daughter of a Goodwin House Alexandria resident. And so you will still see me wandering the halls and in the bistro, and I look forward to that. It makes my departure just a little bit easier. So thank you.
Stay right here. So in July of 2019, Sue said yes to a really important question, which was, will you come be our corporate director of sales? And she has been a fabulous partner during that timeline. A lot of things have happened. We had a once-in-a-century pandemic. We've introduced new programs. We've done a lot. And so I wanted to take just a moment, if you'll allow me, to share with you Sue Dolton by the numbers, and then Sue Dolton by the words or sentiments. So I'm going to put out a number and ask if you can tell me the context for the number. The first one is 95% plus. Occupancy sustained by Sue Dolton and her team across GHA and GHBC in her tenure and through one pandemic. 0. Number of reservist or priority club members who were not able to move in to Goodwin House Alexandria or Goodwin House Bailey's Crossroads because we couldn't figure a way out how to accommodate them in during a pandemic and quarantines. We were one of the only communities in the region that never closed our doors to new reservist and priority club members. And as a result of that, we sustained financial strength and occupancy that a lot of others didn't, and hats off to Barb and her team and the operations and clinical team for allowing us to do that. But that number is 0. It doesn't sound impressive, but it is. 750 plus. New residents across GHA, GHBC, The View Alexandria, and Forest Hills of DC. Sales also come under Sue for that, and that's in the timeline that she's been with us. 65 million plus. Yeah, get your attention. That is new entrance fee money for GHA and GHBC from 2020 to 2024. And that's just a few Sue Dolton by the numbers. Now Sue Dolton by the sentiments. I asked a group of some GHA management team members, some GHA residents, to, in one word, express Sue Dolton. So here goes. Stalwart, dedicated, caring, professional. Curious. This person took 3 words. Organized in spades. This person took 6 words. Steady and with precision focus. This person also broke the word count, but I loved it. Magnificent, or as a backup, elite. Professional, a consummate professional, and a good egg. Idea sharer, mentor, accessible, wonderful, reliable, collaborative partner. That last one, those are my words, and someone who I and we all will miss greatly as a colleague and friend. So thank you, Sue.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Teresa Thomas, the Associate Executive Director, and I know I am very short on time, so I may not give the full report. And I have been going back and forth. What should I share first? So I went back and forth, and then I went up and down and thought elevators. So I just wanted to share this about our elevators. We did an elevator assessment, and we used a consulting service. I will tell you, just like most of the members of our team, what we are not experts in, we seek to get expert help. And so I just know I got on the elevator, and I will share one of my experiences. I got stuck. I pulled out my phone, I called the reception desk, and they said, "How can I help you?" And I went, "Help me." They could not hear me. So I feel you, more ways than one. So not just because I got stuck, but because it's important to you. We engaged the consulting services of VDA. VDA is an elevator industry, a standard consulting and inspection firm, specializing in vertical transportation systems. Isn't that something? When you seek, you find. So, VDA, they performed the initial evaluation of our 12 elevators. So we have 12 elevators, and that was performed on February 12th. They provided us a written report and recommendations. We reviewed those recommendations with John Cruz, Amadou, Barb, and we went through them with VDA to make sure we had a clear understanding of what their recommendations were. They were very good at helping us to understand. From that, we met with Otis representatives yesterday. We provided them the whole report and said, "We need your response." And so yesterday at our meeting, they did give us a report back. And one of the things I do want to highlight, because a lot of residents have asked us, are these the original elevators since the building was put together? Yes, they are. However, it was very clearly stated in the report that because we have continued to invest in our elevators through mechanical upgrades, as recently as 2019, all of our elevators, with the exception of elevator number 6, have had continuous preventive maintenance and upgrades, mechanical upgrades. So the elevators, based on the report from the consulting firm, yes, they need some improvements, but we do not need to replace them at this time. The deficiencies that were noted were a big part of our regular maintenance and housekeeping and making sure that Otis is following the terms of our contract. Again, can I take the onus of saying they didn't complete it correctly? Absolutely, because I wasn't always sure what they needed to do. So with the consulting firm, Otis will begin repairs and to the deficiencies that were identified beginning on April 28th, and it will take them approximately 20 working days to complete the immediate deficiencies that were noted. I'm going to just tell you some of those things that were noted. Adjusting the governor ropes, making necessary adjustments so that the elevator, a lot of you have mentioned this, it's not level when it stops, so there may be a little gap between where the floor and the elevator stops. They will do that. They will adjust all the car doors to avoid scraping. If you ever ride elevator 7 and 8, you'll see that after we've painted, it still scrapes there. So they'll do some adjustments there. Amadou was really great. He had to make sure that all of the phones in the elevators were working, that the reception desk was trained on how to respond to them, and that all of the mechanics were in place. The other thing they noted out, which I say is general housekeeping, is that the pits in the elevators needed to be maintained more clean. You could see where they had gone in, Otis technicians, and done some work and just left things there. And again, any of those minor things, if I leave a glove in the pit and it drops down, it could cause another issue. So just some of those things. I think one of the best things that we could have done was to bring VDA on and ask them to look at the deficiencies and follow the repairs and response, so that they will be here after the 20 days to go back and work with Otis to make sure everything is done according to the standards. I think in the long term, looking at 1 to 3 years, there is a recommendation for some modernization to the elevators. And again, that's because they are the original ones, and you've experienced the long lead time we have on some parts because of the original parts that there. So we will be doing that. It's 4:10, should I keep going? Oh, yes? Oh, yes, okay. So I've been going hot and cold, humidification. Let's talk about that. Most of you know that we engaged a Potomac Energy Group to do an assessment of the towers A, B, and the small houses. We did find that there were some repairs needed to the 3 humidifiers in Tower A. Our contractor, ACI, is working to assess those things and making the repairs. We will need to replace 2 humidifiers in Tower B. That is the tower building. So Tower A is always the original building, Tower B is the tower, and Tower C is the small house. Shall I look outside and go to windows? Okay. So we had some concerns from both residents in the tower and the original building that faced the south and west sides of the building, and they asked us to look at options for cooling and heating because they were just getting so much heat or sun in there. So we looked at a building envelope consulting company. I feel rushed because I know I'm on your time, I'm sorry. So we did engage the services of BEX, that's a building envelope consulting company, to assess a sampling of windows in the tower and in the original building. They did their assessment and we received their report on February 7th. One of the things that we shared with them was that we have ongoing thermal performance and maintenance issues with our windows. We specifically wanted to know the pros and cons of reglazing the existing windows, or if we should begin looking at replacement. While the windows, our current windows, do not impose an immediate life safety threat or any kind of critical impact, the recommendation for Goodwin Living was to plan and budget for replacement. We were given 3 options on the type of window and given the information on what we could expect from those windows. We did make a decision on one, And our next steps will be to test the window in one particular apartment in the tower. We will do that over a heating and cooling season and then come back to evaluate it. If indeed the window that we have selected and we get the results that we are promised, then we will look at budgeting to replace windows. Shall I continue? No? Who said no? Oh. Okay, I'm going to give you one more. The BAS system, which is our building automation system. The BAS system is the brains behind the scenes, and it enables all of our other systems to talk to each other. So it looks at our plumbing, our heating and ventilation, our electrical systems. It looks at all of that and makes sure that they are talking and communicating with each other. We have decided that we need to upgrade that system. And one of the reasons that we want to upgrade that is because we want to make sure that we're able to be alerted. Our team members, our maintenance team, can get alerts ahead of time before there's an issue. A lot of times you'll call in and say, it's cold in my apartment. We have to call a tech in, where if we could upgrade our system, we can do that from off-site. So we are looking at doing that. That is a major upgrade for our building. So we are looking forward to doing that. And I'll close with this one. We did something immediately. We replaced the washers and dryers on the 4th and 5th floor in the original building. Come on, clap. So I just want to close by this. A lot of times you'll share concerns with us, and it never means that we're not listening. But we are doing the behind-the-scene research. We're trying to partner with the experts, and we're watching the experts. We're setting timelines for them to come in and assess things. And so it's happening behind the scene, and we may get a report, but we then need to sit down and make sure we're understanding the report. What are the implications of cost? How quickly can we do it? How many elevators will be out of service while we're doing this? So we're doing a lot of that, and I want to make sure that we're keeping you informed. So what I will do is in my monthly update, which comes out every first Friday, I will begin to highlight some of these other things that are happening. And then I will look to come to town hall at least quarterly and give another update. Thank you. Questions? Yes. I see one hand in the back. I see two.
Teresa, thanks very much. Quick question, the status of the garage door.
Amadou is standing right beside you.
The quick stand up on that because of the time is the garage door is still in process. And they came back yesterday, and we're likely going to have another information of closing traffic next week. So they are working on trying to put it on the schedule. So by tomorrow or Thursday, can hear from them, and then we'll post the building again for another closure of the. But for right now, it's stayed open.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, Mr. Sargent asked, when will the garage be finished? When will it be over? I'm going to take my seat. No. So a lot of the work in the garage is dependent on the weather. So when it's rain or when it's too cold, we sort of have to pause what we're doing. We're into the coating phase now and numbering. We've done most of the painting, but remember when we had that heavy rain, some of the painting got damaged and we had to go back. So we are estimating, as I move to my seat, the garage will be completed and open for resident use by, are you waiting for it? December, no. We're hoping June 13th. And again, that is dependent on the weather. You know, because some of the things that they're doing now, like the coating of the flooring, it has to be a certain temperature for them to do that and for it to cure. You have been so kind. You have been so patient while we went through this project. And not only you, our team members. I can't tell you how we can sit in the office and like we're sort of cringing when we have to change the date. But again, thank you so much for being patient with us. Okay. I may just copy this and have Marilee send it out since I was rushing through it a little bit, but I'll have Marilee send this out to everyone. Thank you. Have fun.
Who was it? Bill Kehoe.
Oh.
And he goes to have Bravo. I'm trying it all.
Yeah.